Hello guys, this video is 7th part of our microservice tutorial. In previous videos, we understood what is microservices, architecture of microservice, and then we created two microservices, student and course. In last video, part 6, we understood what is Eureka and how Eureka works internally with API gateway and microservices. Just for a quick recap, let's see what we discussed in last video. So we have an Eureka server which will be running on 8091 port, and then we have our microservice, first microservice. Whenever we deploy this microservice, it gets registered itself on the Eureka with its application name and port and API address as well. Whenever we deploy our second microservice, this also register on Eureka with its application name and port. Now we have an API gateway which is useful for the user interface to communicate. Now whenever we deploy our API gateway, this also registers itself on the Eureka with its port and application name. Now whenever a user interface calling API gateway with an URL, API gateway first of all scans the URL and then find out the application name for this URL based on the configuration in its configuration file. Once it gets the application name, it calls the Eureka server to get the address for that application name. Once the Eureka server returns the address for that application name, API gateway calls that particular microservice. Similarly, again when user interface calls with another URL, API gateway does the same thing. It finds out the application name for that particular URL and then it calls Eureka server with that application name. Eureka server returns the address for that application name and then API gateway calls that particular microservice. So this is how the complete workflow works. Now what we are going to do? First we will create Eureka server application. Then we will see Eureka server console after running the Eureka server. Then we add client dependency to all the microservices, student and course, and API gateway also. After that, we will edit the properties file of microservice and API gateway and add the Eureka server address URL. Then we will update the route configuration in API gateway property file, and after that we will run all the services and then we will see how they are registering themselves on the Eureka server console. After that, finally, we will test our APIs through Postman. So here I have opened STS, Spring Tool Suite, and this is our course microservice, this is student microservice, and this is our API gateway. Now we will create Eureka server. So same like before, for the starter project, we will go to Spring Initializer. Just type here Spring Initializer, this one, and we'll choose the same like before, no change. Here I'll see code. This I will keep Eureka discovery, Eureka registry, and this I will remove from here. I'll keep Java 8, and here in dependency we have to find out Eureka. Yeah, this is Eureka server. Now click on generate, and after downloading the project we will import in our STS. Here I have imported Eureka registry application, and let's see the pom.xml. So this is the dependency, Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka server, and because of this dependency it will behave like Eureka server. Now let's see the main method. This is the main method class. Here we don't have to do anything, and let's go to the application.yml. I renamed this file. Before it was application.property, now it is application.yml. Let me add the configuration steps for this. First of all, I have kept a name for this application, which is Eureka Discovery and Service, and here is the port 8083. So I want this Eureka server to run on 8083 port, and this is the configuration for the Eureka client. So here we see the registry with Eureka is false. Actually, Eureka server has a built-in Eureka client also. In production, generally there is a cluster of Eureka servers and they register among themselves as a client. But here it's running on localhost and we don't want any cluster. So we need to keep this as a false so that it doesn't try to register itself. This is fetch registry. We need to keep it as a false, and this is the service URL default zone. This that means whenever we want to open the console, it will open with this particular port. So that's it for the Eureka server configuration file. Now we have to add the dependency in all our microservices and gateway, and then we have to add this particular URL to their application.yml file. Now I will add the Eureka client dependency to our course microservice. So we'll go to pom.xml, and this is what I have added from here to here. So this is the dependency I have added: Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka client, and this is the dependency management to get the Spring Cloud version, and I have mentioned the Spring Cloud version here. Okay, so in pom.xml we just have to add this dependency, Eureka client dependency. That's it. Now we'll go to application.yml, and in application.yml we have to add this property: Eureka client service URL default zone http localhost :8083/Eureka. Once you have this property in your configuration file, then whenever you restart or whenever you deploy this course microservice, it will try to register itself to this particular URL, and here the Eureka server is running. Okay, so the same thing we have to do on the student microservice as well. Let's go to pom.xml for student microservice, and here I have added this part from here to here. This is the dependency for Eureka client, and for the version I have added here. Okay, now we have to configure in application.yml the same Eureka client URL. So I'll come here, and this is the Eureka client URL. That's it. Same thing we have to do in our gateway also, Spring Gateway. So let's go here in pom.xml, and here I will just add this dependency. That's it. Okay, here we already have this dependency management, and same Eureka client we have to keep in application.yml file of the API gateway. Okay, let's come here, paste. Okay, now we are done. So here explicitly we were saying that in URL, if there is anything /student/ after that anything, then it will try to call this particular URL. Okay, and here our students microservice was running. Similarly, we were doing for the course also. But now we have to discover the microservice server from the Eureka client. So we have to replace this with application name. So this is the way we have to keep the application name: LB :// and the server application name. Okay, similarly here also I'll do the same thing, change the name for our course microservice. The name is course-service. Okay, now we are done. Now we have to start one by one, and then we will see how they are registering each other. So first of all, I will start Eureka registry, right click, run as Spring Boot app. Now it is starting. It is saying started discovery application. This and this is the port. Let's go to browser and we'll see the console for Eureka. Okay, so here we will type localhost, and it is running on 8080. So click here. Okay, so here this is the Eureka console. Here we can see all the instances which will be running. So here currently it is saying no instance available, and these are the some general info and instance info. Okay, so this status up is for this Eureka server. Now let's start our gateway. So here is the gateway, and we will say run as Spring Boot app, check the logs. Okay, so gateway is also started, and it is saying registering application gateway with Eureka with status up. So let's see the console here, it again, and we see this gateway is registered here, and here we see this is saying localhost :gateway 8090. So this is localhost IP, and gateway is the application name, and 8090 is the port where this particular service is running. Now let's start student microservice. Right click here, run as Spring Boot app. Okay, so here it is saying student service with Eureka with status 1. So it's registered itself on the Eureka. Let's see here. It and here we have student service. Now we'll start course microservice. Right click, run as Spring Boot app. Okay, here we can see registering application course service with Eureka with status 1. Let's see on Eureka console. Hit here, and now here we have core service. So we have successfully registered all our services to the Eureka with their port and application name. Now we have a complete setup of microservice architecture. We have our services, we have API gateway, we used Eureka server, and now we can see that all our services are successfully registering to the Eureka server. Now we have to test our REST APIs for microservices using gateway. So let's go to Postman, and here what I will do now, I will try to access first student service using gateway. So I'll keep the gateway port, which is 8090, and slash, and we have student and colon ID, and we have to pass ID equal the value. Let's see 1. Okay, so I think there was no value for 1. Let's see 2. Yes, we have value for 2, and these values are coming from MySQL database, because for this microservice we used MySQL database. For the full details, you can see the video, and let's add some data to this student service. So I have this here. This requires a post student slash save, and then I want to add this data Samuel and this mobile number course ID. Let's hit. Okay, we got true, so we have data. Let's check from here. Let's pass 4. I think yes, we have the data here. Similarly, we test for the course microservice. So instead of student, we'll use course. Now you notice I'm using the same port of API gateway. I'm not using the port for course, but through API gateway, it is going to course microservice. So here I'll use hit, and then we got all the records in course microservice. For this record is coming from MSSQL, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, let's add some data to course also. So for here, so this requires post, and here also I'm using gateway port course. Now I want to add this general studies course. So let's hit. Okay, we got 3. Let's check this data. Click here, and we got all the data general studies. So we try to access this course controller APIs, which we have completed in 4th video of this series, and we successfully accessed our student microservice REST APIs, these ones. So we are done now. We successfully seen how these microservices are registering to the Eureka server, and we successfully access these URLs from gateway. That's all guys for this video. If it is useful for you, then please like and share this video and subscribe the channel. Don't forget to click on bell button to get notification for the upcoming videos. Thank you very much.